This point, best of 5 sets. Grand Slam at stake. 15 low.
Well, here's Pete Sampras. He's 25 years old, 6'1", resides in Tampa, of course, #1 player in the world. 8 Grand Slam titles to his credit.
He left it and it landed in. 15 all.
There are those 8 Grand Slam titles I was talking about, including the 1994 Australian when he defeated Todd Martin in straight sets. Career prize money is just over $25 million.
That's 15.
Man at the other end of the court, Carlos Moya, age 20, tall fella, 6'3", lives in Barcelona, Spain, ranked 25th on the ATP computer rankings. Highest rankings he's had has been at number 20.
Easy first game for Pete Sampras, a loss of only 1 point. Pete Sampras looking for more Grand Slam glory. Will he be able to do it? This is live from the Australian Open. Moya and Sampras. Moya about to serve. Second game of the match. Turning point in Carlos Moya's career came just about 2 months ago at the Paris Indoor. He beat an in-form Boris Becker. Becker had beaten Sampras and Chang.
That's a pretty good start. He takes a couple of times before he gets in there and then cranks one up at 189 kilometers.
And a record has already gone in Pete Sampras' record now.
It's 118 miles an hour and 195. That last one is 121 miles an hour. So Moya says, hey, I'm in this one.
He's got up over 200 Ks, as they call them here in Australia.
That's so not bad for the first game.
You can crank him up. And if there are Grand Slam nerves in play here, then we haven't seen them yet. Manolo Santana said that Carlos Moya would rather have played Michael Chang, which he did, than Marcelo Rios. He beat Michael Chang in straight sets to get here.
Manolo Santana, twice a French Open champion. Also won at Wimbledon and the US Open. And he's now the captain of the Spanish Davis Cup team.
The first round of the first tie for Spain will be played in Mallorca, Fred, and a lot of Spanish people were saying, wait a second, why do you want to go to Mallorca? You've got a bunch of Germans down there at this time of the year on vacation. We want to have a Spanish crowd. Now that he's done so well, that's where he was born, the place is sold out. He lives in Barcelona, though. .30-15.
Well, Pete Sampras is yet to miss a first serve, and this is why he's going to be real important, because look at Moya on the pass. That's off the first serve. Good return from Moya. If Moya can get on Sampras' second serve, Pete will be in trouble. Yeah, I jinxed him. He missed the first serve.
Always the way, isn't it? Doesn't matter.
A good move on the second serve just to keep the Spaniard honest. Talking about Davis Cup, we will be covering Davis Cup not next weekend as you watch this ace from Sampras, but the weekend after that it'll be versus Brazil. Agassi and Courier playing for the USA. Renneberg and Alex O'Brien in the doubles.
Well played.
Sampras holds on easily, so they'll change ends on serve, 2 games to 1. Early stages of the match. It's best of 5. Pete Sampras, probably the most important athlete in tennis, most respected. He has Moya on him.
Pete Sampras, he can do everything. I mean, he has good forehand, good backhand. He can play from the baseline. He can make an ace, can go to the net, and he's a really good player.
They really respect this man, don't they? And Carlos Moya among them. Here is Moya serving. It's 2 games to 1. Sampras, love 15.
Yeah, the big forehand hit the top of the tape and bounced back on his side. Sampras making a move to the side of the court, whether it's another broken racket.
You know what it is, Fred? This is the second one, and we're only in the 4th game.
That's even a lot for Pete Sampras. We know he breaks a lot of strings, but he needs to send his coach, Paul Annacone, out and get a couple of those strung up pretty quick.
Well, that's worth a try again. We've talked about that all week with these players, just to let your opponent know that you're going to have a crack at a forehand. Moya did it in the last game. Sampras served an ace. Sampras attempted to do it then. There's a group of Spaniards here today. They'll let the Aussies know that they want Moya to win this one.
I think that's what Sampras is going to try to do a little bit, is go right at the Moya forehand and not let him run around the backhand, make him play in the forehand corner.
Now he's missed 2 forehands, Patrick. We talked right at the start. This is the big shot. This is the shot that has to work for Moya. I believe he's a little bit tight at the moment. He missed that one badly, and the one before he lifted up on. So this is the first break point of the match.
And Sampras gets the early break. He's got a 3-game-to-1 lead in the first set. The Winter Extreme Games coming to ESPN and ESPN2. World-class athletes competing in events like snowboarding, ice climbing, and super-modified shovel racing. This and more as the Winter Extreme Games come to ESPN and ESPN2. That's beginning on Thursday.
What was that last one again?
Shovel?
Shovel super modified, though.
Yes.
Shovel, okay. I'll get that straight.
You know how to shovel it. We all do. 3-games-to-1 Sampras.
Another errant forehand. He's made quite a few unforced errors already on that side. Only his 2nd visit to Australia, Moya. He's only played 19 matches on hard courts. That's not many. 11 of them been played this year. Some in Sydney and some down here.
That's right. In fact, so the point you're making, Fred, is a very good one, is that before this year, he played like 4 or 5 matches in total on hard court.
On a hard court. So he's had a pretty successful few weeks down under.
Because they were practicing a lot on hard courts in Barcelona. All the Spanish boys were. 15 of them here. And quite a lot of them have had a lot of success. Correcha, for example, you remember his match with Pete Sampras in the quarterfinal of the U.S. Open as you watch the replay. Javier Sanchez was in the quarters at the Open as well. And then you've got Moya here, Alberto Costa, who did so well, and Felix Mantilla, all quarterfinalists. So it's not just numbers with them, it's also ability and excellence.
Well, Moya's in trouble now. I think Sampras is keeping the pressure on him. You saw on that little half volley there, Pete hit that with quite a bit of pace, and he's trying to take Moya's time away, and he's been able to do it so far. When Moya doesn't have time on the forehand, he makes some errors.
I think that's the secret, isn't it? If he can keep a good, solid shot into the Moya forehand, and Moya's not timing it well at the moment. He's sitting everything pretty much off that back foot. When you're successful on that forehand, anybody and you're confident, you're really on that front foot. And that's where Moya's got to make the transition today.
Sampras can just about do it all, can't he? And he has brought out his entire bag of tricks today, it looks like. It is 4-1. Breaker serve, first set. As you can imagine, Carlos Moya has been big news here. Here's one of the earlier newspaper stories. Moya's ace in Glamour Stakes. So there's Carlos Moya. He was #1 in the Glamour Stakes with a vote that they took care of readers. You got Patrick Rafton, Philippoussis, and Thomas Enquist mentioned as well. But he is the pin-up boy of the championship. In fact, he was very popular last week, or it's now 2 weeks ago, at the Sydney final. You're watching the Australian Open. It is men's singles final day today. Best of 5 sets between the #1 player in the world, Pete Sampras, and Carlos Moya of Spain. We're in the first set. It's 4-1 to Sampras. Cliff Drysdale here alongside Patrick McEnroe, Fred Stolle. Glad you could join us. This is live coverage from Melbourne. It's 2:30, just after 2:30 in the afternoon on Sunday afternoon.
Unseeded players are pretty much a rare breed when you get down to the finals of Grand Slam tournaments, and Moya represents only the 4th unseeded player to reach the Australian final.
Manolo Santana, French Open champion in 61 and 64. Gimeno and Bruguera have also won the French, but no Spanish players have ever won the Australian title. Santana also won Wimbledon, and as you mentioned, the U.S. Open as well. But Carlos Moya would be a first down under.
Manolo Santana made a great quote in the paper the other day. They asked him why he never played in the Australian Open, because we played against him in Davis Cup down here, and he didn't stay on for the Australian Open. He said, well, Roy Emerson and I and somebody like myself, we were all getting paid money under the table. And he said they paid Emerson to play in Spain, so they wouldn't pay me to play here, so why should I play? There you go.
It's a long way to come for $5 a day, Fred, which is what I got offered a couple of years.
I was definitely overpaid. That was the going rate for the players out here then, as we watch Sampras take it to Moya. Moya has not really got on track yet.
No, and Pete's mixing his serves up well. Been going a lot to the Moya forehand, winning 3 points on that. That time he went to the Moya backhand. A lot of first serves. He's serving almost 80%.
30-love in this game, 4-2 for Sampras.
It's the secret with these Grand Slam finals, though. He always seems to serve better in the finals than throughout the rounds. There we go. Every time you say something like that, in comes a double pop.
30-15. Moya hasn't had a break point yet.
Moya's timing seems just to be totally off, and I think part of that is the fact that he's had 2 full days off. He played Chang on Thursday, and I think, playing in a Grand Slam, you're used to playing every other day.
Yep.
And I really think that's taken Moya's out of his rhythm, particularly on his days off. He just hits for like a half hour, and if you do that 2 days in a row, you lose your timing a little bit.
You lose your intensity as well. You're not out there. You like to get that match and get under match conditions every other day. A couple of days off, you feel as though you're starting to have a little vacation.
He doesn't want to get into protracted rallies from the baseline with Moya, though, does he? Although, having said that, Sampras has stayed back with the best and has come through. As a rule, he needs to try to get in. Game point, Sampras. Pete Sampras ahead. One breaker serve, 5 games to 2. Moya will serve after this. We're live in Australia. You may see this little fellow in a zoo somewhere in the rest of the world, but if you want to see him in his natural habitat, Australia is the place. There's a koala, kangaroos also down here, of course, wombats, platypus. Part of the natural surroundings here in this beautiful continent of Australia. It is a big continent. 4 time zones, Fred? 3 time zones.
3 time zones, yep.
It is Moya to serve to Sampras. 2-5.
Same distance pretty much from coast to coast as it is in the United States.
Yeah. Crowd wondering whether he should have got a call there, and he shrugs as if to say that he felt that he should have, but it didn't come, so it's love 15 and 2-5.
Well, he hasn't had the experience, Moya, even in situations like this, to give the right glare or stare or ask the right question. And we mentioned he has not played too many Grand Slam events. And this is his first final.
Air temperature is 88 degrees today. It's hot. But it can get, first of all, it's going to be a lot hotter on the court, and it can get a lot hotter. In fact, that was one of the stories of this championship, the unbelievable heat of a couple of days.
Well, you can also see in Moya's shirt, it's a little breezy out there, and I think Moya's having trouble with that as well.
On the line, and it zipped away, so that caused Moya to be late in his stroke production. When it hits the line on these courts, it skids away, and you can have another good look at it right here and watch how Moya is a little late in contact there. He's all ready for the preparation, then he's got to really smack it through there. You can see that last minute acceleration of the racket head. Hasn't made one yet.
Yeah, and that's unusual. That's his favorite shot right there. And when it's breezy, obviously Moya in his first Grand Slam final and having trouble with his timing. When it is a little breezy, it makes it that much tougher to get it back.
Set point.
5 unforced errors on the forehand side from Moya.
He failed. Sampras wins it easily. 2 breaks, 6 games to 2. He's been very good down under, 29 and 5. He was the champion in 94, took out Todd Martin in straight sets. In 95, he was a finalist. Andre Agassi clipped his wings, and in 93, a semi-finalist, losing to Stefan Edberg in 3 sets. Now, he's been good here, but not great, because he's won the U.S. Open 4 times. He's won Wimbledon 3 times.
This is his 3rd final down here. And he's very calm, collected, and confident today.
She lost in the 95 final here. As you see the replay, Moya just popping that up. 9th winner for Sampras, and the 95 final to Andre Agassi. And that was when he had to deal with the tough emotional trauma he had there when his coach Tim Gullickson got very sick at that point, and he had that big breakdown with Courier in that match. So that was a very tough couple weeks for Pete.
He eventually lost, of course, his battle with brain cancer.
Well, that Courier-Sampras match will go down as one of the best matches ever played at the Australian Open. Look at Moya, has just a quiet look there. He knows that he's up against a man that is just got the He knows he wants this 9th Grand Slam singles title. It's going to be tough for Moya to get on the board the way things are going.
Well, we're only 24 minutes into the match, and Sampras is looking very strong. Moya so far has no answers to the power game of the top player in the world. 1 set to love, 1 game to love Sampras. Here's a look back at the Australian Open to the women's doubles. Martina Hingis and Natasha Zvereva took on Lindsay Davenport, Lisa Raymond of the USA for the Australian Open doubles titles. They won it easily 2-2 for Martina, her 2nd Grand Slam doubles title. She was the youngest ever to win Wimbledon with Helena Sukova. Here's Sampras and Moya. First point. 1 game to love Sampras. Moya serving. He's down 1 set. He's only won 2 games so far.
Well, Sampras he knows that this fella's played some great matches this week. His interview said, well, he's won his matches convincingly. Anybody that can beat Chang in 3 sets has to be playing well. But he hasn't showed any of that form so far today. Was never out of control at that point right from the very start. Just Moya was doing a lot of track work at the back of the court until Sampras gets into the net position. Open court volley.
Patrick, the players are saying that the harder it is, the faster the court is playing. First of all, is that true? And secondly, doesn't that help Sampras if it is?
Yes and yes. The court definitely plays faster when the weather's warmer. The ball goes through the air a lot faster.
Yeah, too good.
Well, it's beneficial to Pete Sampras, especially on his serve, and it's hurting Moya a lot on the ground strokes because the ball's going through the air a little bit quicker. Look, Pete wrong-footing Moya continually today, and then beautifully coming in and knocking off that backhand volley. He's gone behind Moya a lot so far.
Couple of break points. And the pressure again. That's the way Henman played him in Sydney.
2 games to love Sampras with a break. The leader is Steve Jones. He's 22 under David Duval. Second at 17 under Tiger Woods, -10. He apparently had a hole-in-one today. That's the PGA Tour continuing on ESPN. Final round coverage at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. That's the Phoenix Open.
Fred, I snuck a peek after that point over in Pete Sampras' corner in the crowd. And finally, Moya gets one passing shot going there. But I snuck over and I saw Paul Annacone clap after Pete made that chip and charge on break point. That's Paul's trying to get him to do that a little bit more.
I agree with that strategy, and this is, as we mentioned, the first time that he's been open up and hit a passing shot under a bit of pressure, Moya.
I bet you do agree with that strategy, Fred. That's all you ever did, that chip and charge. Let's hope for the best.
It was the easiest way.
Yes, Paul. That's why.
Alluding to something you talked about earlier, Patrick, the way to get to somebody's weakness oftentimes is through their strength. And Sampras is doing a great job mixing up his serve, but he's serving a lot to the strength, which is out to the forehand. If he gets a good first serve out there, very tough for Moya to hit a winner. He takes a big swing at it. That opens the court up to the two-handed backhand side.
Well, there you see him wrong-footing him again. And just like you said, doing it on the serve, he's doing the same thing in the rallies. He's going right at the Moya forehand, which I think is surprising, Carlos. You see he's looking for the backhand there. He goes back behind him. And then, as you said, getting him to hit a running backhand, Carlos Moya, that's probably his least favorite shot, having to hit the backhand on the run.
Another one to the forehand.
Well, maybe Carlos Moya is human after all. He has had some great results. He took out Beck in the first round, as we've already told you, and Michael Chang as well. But he is looking amateurish now compared to this Sampras barrage.
I don't think I've seen Sampras play a bad final. I think that match that he lost to Agassi a couple of years ago, he had an opportunity. I think it was a
tiebreaker. It was one set all.
One set all. Let cord that went by him off a return of serve, a set point that he had.
Well, the only other time,
break point.
Sorry, Cliff. The only other time he lost a Grand Slam final was '92 U.S. Open to Stefan Edberg. And actually, Pete was quite sick in that match. But now Moya's got a little chance to get back in the set, break point.
It'll be interesting to see at his first opportunity whether he wants to run around and have a crack at a big forehand. I don't think he will.
There's the breaker's serve. First blood drawn by Moya in the match. So we're on serve now. Sampras got an earlier break. It's 2-1. Moya will serve. Sampras won the first set 6-2. You're watching live coverage from Melbourne of the Australian Open. Everybody. Earlier today, out on center court, Ricky Leach, one of the best doubles players of maybe not all time, but one of the great ones from the USA, and Dutch lady Manon Bollengraf took the mixed doubles over Larissa Neeland and John de Jager of South Africa. 6-3, 6-7, 7-5. Moya serving on serve, second set. Ricky Leach and Jim Pugh, great team for a long time, those two.
Played Davis Cup for the US.
Low 15.
If Sampras wins this, he goes to number 9, and the all-time record is held by Roy Emerson at 12 Grand Slam singles.
Well, maybe Carlos Moya is starting to get a little confidence going. His fans enjoying that backhand winner up the line.
30-15.
Yeah, well, that last game has given him a bit of confidence. If he can just hang in here for a few games on even terms, things might change a little.
So Carlos Moya holds on as 2 games all. First set to Sampras, 6-2. Now, if you're unseeded, it's not that easy to win a Grand Slam, but it's been done a few times before. In '76, Mark Edmondson took out John Newcombe in the final, but that's were in the days when not that many great players came down here to the Australian Open. In '85, Boris Becker took out Kevin Curran at Wimbledon. The US Open, remember, in '94, Andre Agassi was unseeded, took out Stick in the final. Also Mats Wielander in 1982 at the French Championships. But Moya is trying to do that here.
Things are turning a little bit because it's now Sampras that's starting to make a few unforced errors in the last 2 games. Maybe the first set was just a little too easy for him. Moya has to capitalize on that if he can.
Didn't Agassi beat 5-seeded players that year that he won the US Open? as I remember it.
Yes, I think
He
did.
just had a terrible year, and he went into that. I think he was ranked 21, and they seed 16 players there. He was ranked 21, just didn't get it.
Moya, meanwhile, has beaten Becker here. He's beaten Mantia. He's beaten Chang. And so it'll be 4 if he wins this one.
Moya not happy with the service call.
And he beat one of the greatest unseeded players in this tournament, I think, Fred.
Yeah.
Patrick McCann.
Nice. You guys are too much, man.
30-15.
But he got a fright, though.
Yeah.
I took that
Patrick
first
won
set
that
off
first
him.
set. Yeah. Patrick was on a roll.
We won't talk about the next 3 sets, what happened.
There goes
Another
another
string,
string.
yeah.
That's 3 and counting. Now, he won't get a second serve here. At least he will get a second. He won't get a first serve.
I don't know if you could see Moya right there, kind of looked up over at his coach. Apparently, his coach and Mantia's coach were actually warned for coaching in their quarterfinal match with each other. So, looked like maybe his coach might have a couple words for him, sitting right next to old Santana over there.
Well, it's not difficult to have an arrangement with your player as far as a little bit of sign language is concerned. And they really can't pick that up in too many occasions if you and your coach are in sync with what's going on.
Brilliant stuff from Sampras. He's got getting point. Tell the string story again, guys, for those who haven't heard it.
Well, Sampras gets his rackets strung every day. Whether he breaks them or he doesn't, he gets 6 rackets done every day. As you watch the brilliance of this man, he goes back in behind him again here. And he regrips the racket, the ones that he has used. And he gets them strung very tight with squash gut.
So it's very thin, and that's why so many of them break. 3-2, Sampras on serve, second set. He won the first. At the Australian Open in the men's doubles yesterday on centre court, it was the Woodies, Mark Woodford and Todd Woodbridge. They won it. They're the top seeds. They took out USA's Alex O'Brien, who will play Davis Cup for the US, and Sebastian Leroux of Canada. They dropped the first set, but they won the next 7-5, 7-5, 6-3. Another title for them. Here is a look at live coverage now again as Moya clips one on the line, or was it? Yes, it was. 15 low.
Called good, so maybe he's starting to find the range a little better, get his timing.
That win yesterday, by the way, gives the Woodies more wins than even Newcomb and Roach, Fleming and McEnroe, so they head that list of Grand Slam titles. They're a heck of a team.
They've won the last 3 Grand Slams, also Wimbledon, the US Open and the Australian, so the Woodies are on a roll. They're very popular down here. Moya is also very popular down here. They want him to get into this match. He's starting to.
So we're even 3 games all in the second. The Rangers beat Pittsburgh earlier today, 7-4. Rangers and the Blackhawks, Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier. New York Rangers face the always tough Chicago Blackhawks. Action on the ice Monday, 7:30 Eastern on The Deuce.
Well, finally, Moya starts to read that Sampras has been going wide in the deuce court predominantly with the first serve. Moya kind of cheated over there and got a good look at that first serve.
That's what you do, though, isn't it? If somebody's serving out there, you got to cheat over there and threaten them to move down the, change their swing and go for the one down the middle. Otherwise, you just get clobbered all the time. Yeah.
He got it.
Again, he cheated over a little bit there to the center of the court on that serve down the middle.
Love 30.
Yeah, you're right, Fred. You could see him just move a little bit right before Pete went to hit the serve and then just clipping the line again with the forehand. So love 30 now for Carlos Moya.
That is a great shot.
Yeah, that's a tough shot to play on this court. It has to be played to perfection, and it was on this occasion. Seen Moya there trying to move over. He was looking for the one down to the backhand.
Not to mention it was love 30, so if you're missing this, that's a tough shot to play at that point. You miss that, it's triple break point.
Yep. Big comeback, and it's 30 all.
Well, that forehand hit the line, and again, it skidded off the line. This one here, and Moya does a good job to get it back, but then he's got to track it down to the forehand, and Sampras has been brilliant in going in behind his opponent on about 10 different occasions so far in this match.
No. The sun's behind him, so that's not the reason. That was just a miss. And a break point.
Yeah, a bit of a look up after this overhead, so the sun's got to be something. You can see him look up there. There's got to be somewhat of a problem there.
Oof. That's a pretty adventurous serve and volley, because he didn't hit it that hard. 139 Ks.
No, that was a good mix-up, that one. He's rather than go for the big one down the tee, thinking that Moya would be expecting that. He goes for a slow kicker.
Moya's had the 2 break points. He's broken the once in this game to get back on serve.
And Pete obviously thinks that that's a weakness of Moya, and he's hit that one good return in this game wide in the forehand in the juice court, but Pete has hit every first serve there this game.
Well, it opens up the court then, doesn't it? And that one, though, he stayed back. First time he hadn't served and volleyed to that side.
Sampras holds on in spite of being in trouble in that game on his serve, but he is the best in the business in getting out of trouble on his serve. Statistics show that. 4-3 Sampras. This is a good time to be had by all here, including visitors from the USA. And I know Patrick McEnroe appreciates that because he loves music.
A couple of my hitting partners out there.
Talking about hitting partners, did you say you practiced some with Moya today?
I did. I hit with him a little bit just to warm up for the match, and he did look a little shakier than normal.
Big game right here for Sampras. This is where you'll find that Sampras will apply a little pressure if possible. And Moya, this is a must-win situation, this set for Moya. And he knows it.
And Moya cannot believe it. Wayne McEwen's in the chair. Interested to see whether Moya reacts at all, and he has not to Wayne McEwen after he got what he thought was a terrible call. Now he has lost the point, so from what he thought was an ace to 15-30 in this game. That was a big point.
Well, just a perfectly played point again from the #1 player in the world, and that's why he's there. He gets into finals. He keeps the pressure on. He's kept it on here. had a little bit of a hiccup for a couple of games, but look at this. He's got Moya on a string here, and nobody in the tournament's been able to do that so far. And Sampras has another couple of break points.
And he's got 3 for 3 in that department.
Point of the match. Point of the match right there. And that'll be the turning point of the match as far as I'm concerned. That's the break that Pete Sampras needed to go to 5-3. He's gone back to the shade for a bit too. He'll take his 30 seconds now.
5 games to 3 for Sampras. He's going to serve now for the second set.
Well, you haven't seen this many good ground strokes and rally for a long time there. Hitting the ball very hard, makes the approach, and look at Sampras, stays down there. He gets the volley and rips the next one. Too good.
Sampras has been broken once in the match, but he has broken Moya twice in this set and twice in the first set. He's serving for the set, love 15. Cliff Drysdale, Fred Starley, Patrick McEnroe watching the Australian Open men's singles final, best of 5 sets. First set to Sampras 6-2. It's 5-3 in the second to Pete Sampras.
He's done a lot of damage with that serve to the forehand, whether it's out wide on the deuce court or down the tee. It's just opened up the court, and Moya just has not given him enough room. He should be fudging over, in my opinion, to try and make Sampras change that delivery. There's another one.
He's not even serving as hard as he usually does today, Sampras. It's almost like he's got it like in third gear, but he's finding the corners with the serve. You get the feeling he could take it up another level or two if he had to. But
one of the things, Patrick, is look where Moya's standing. He's a good 6 feet behind the baseline. If Pete gets that one in out wide, Moya's not cutting down the angle the way a lot of players do. He's got to really stretch out and meet that ball rather than cut the angle off.
Set point. And that's called long. So there's the set for Sampras. He wins the second set. After 2 breaks of serve, he was broken once. He leads 2 sets to none. Yesterday here at Melbourne Park, we were witness to history as Martina Hingis of Switzerland won the women's singles trophy, and she did it in fine style over Mary Pierce, former champion here down under in Australia. Martina Hingis in straight sets. The cheers of the crowd will ring in her ears many more times.
She's going to kiss a lot more trophies, I'll tell you that. A lot more Grand Slam trophies. What a joy and a refreshing sight she was yesterday. Just fabulous.
Pete Sampras took a longer break than normal, a bathroom break. He has to be accompanied by an official to make sure that he doesn't confer with his coach. I don't know why he'd bother, because he doesn't need any help. It's been a brilliantly played match. Patrick, you played against Moya in the tournament. Is he doing everything right strategically?
Well, I don't think so. I think he maybe early in the match he should have tried to spin his serve a little more and get some rallies, particularly when he got down the break in the first set to get into a little bit of a flow. Kind of kept going for big serves. Pete kept the pressure on him smartly and not giving him time to really get a rhythm.
Moya serving first game, third set. Sampras 2 sets to none.
As we had talked about earlier, I really think the 2 days off has affected him a lot, because I think on his days off, I know he doesn't hit that much and doesn't, as Fred said, compete. He doesn't even play a practice set or something like that. And if you have 1 day off, you can do that. You know, go out, hit for a half hour, 45 minutes just to keep loose. But 2 days...
15 all. Sampras has only lost a couple of times in his career after winning the first 2 sets. One was that match with Jaime Izaguirre, and remember that one at the US Open. And then Cherkasov beat him in Barcelona at the 92 Olympics.
He's tried that a couple of times. He hits that one very flat, doesn't he? He doesn't come underneath it at all. And he doesn't hit it. He just runs through a couple of those. Yeah, again, directed to the forehand, steps around it, cracks it to the forehand. Moya always looking for that off forehand to the backhand side.
23 winners for Sampras.
So even these kind of points aren't great for Moya. With Pete trying to come in on that 1 point before, hitting this one in the net, Moya can get no rhythm going.
He's just got it going. He's got it on a string today, Sampras. Playing within himself. We've talked about that. He hasn't gone for any really big serves. He's got a game plan to try and exploit the Spaniard's forehand, and everything is under control at the moment. That's an unbelievable shot from where Moya was. What's this one? This is the last thing Sampras expected, a slice backhand hit with that pace deep into the forehand corner.
So Moya holds on, but I think there was a little fatigue in that shot, Fred, because it's not the kind of shot that he would have played if he was at 110%. We'll find out. He's in so much trouble here. Sampras up 2-0. Moya 1 game to love. At the US Open, Pete Sampras won his only Grand Slam of last year, so there was some pressure on him, but he was up to the task, and then some as he took out Michael Chang in the final relatively easily. A big smile for his first Grand Slam win of last year. This year he hopes to change that, and it looks like he certainly will. Up 2-0. Carlos Moya, meanwhile, has taken out both finalists from last year, Chang and Becker. If he were to win this one, he'd be #1 in the world also.
Incredible contrast, because this man, Carlos Moya, he's changed his shirt, so he's feeling the heat in more ways than one. But throughout the tournament, he has not appeared rushed to get anything done on the ground strokes from the baseline. Today, he has been rushed. He looks rushed.
ace. 30-15. Sampras going for history here. He wants to make it a 9th Grand Slam title. He has 8 so far. Sampras holds on, so it's 1 game all. And if you look at the statistics on Sampras, when he gets to finals, he has been terrific. Sampras is playing in his 11th. He has an 8-2 record in finals. Ivan Lendl had an 8-11 record. He won 8, but he lost 11. Borg, 11-5, and then you see the rest of them. It's an interesting statistic. That's open era. Moya, 15 love. 1 game all, 3rd set. As we've said, he's only lost 2, Sampras, and that was to Agassi here and to Edberg at the US Open. 94.
92.
92 in 4 sets.
Right, in 4, yeah.
Do you think that Sampras can overtake 12 singles titles, Grand Slam singles titles?
That Roy Emerson?
Roy Emerson leads with. This will be his 9th if he goes forward to win it?
Yes, I am convinced that he can and will. Heck, he's only 25 years old.
That's it.
And how many more Wimbledons can he win?
No, I agree with you. Well, how many more anything he can win? The only one I think he's going to have all sorts of trouble with that I doubt very much whether he can win is the French.
And he wants the French so
more
bad.
than anything else, yeah.
That's the one he really wants.
Oh, that is a beautiful shot from Moya. As pretty as a picture. 40-15 for Moya.
A lot of great champions always missed out on one major title, though. Borg desperately wanted the US Open. McEnroe desperately wanted the French. Newcomb wanted the French. There's lots. Kenny Rosewall, Wimbledon finals, 4 years, won everything else around the place. Just too good today.
As you see that forehand from Sampras, Patrick, we used to talk about his forehand being vulnerable. I'm not sure that it's not the best shot in the game now outside of his serve.
I think it's right up there. I mean, he timed that return so well off a pretty big first serve from Moya.
Game point, Moya.
This is a good play from Moya. He actually sees Sampras sneaking in, and he played the slice very close to the line, and Sampras forced to play a half volley.
You know, our production truck gives us this information because they're interested in these kind of things. He's playing a lot more quickly between points, Carlos Moya, than he has in any other match. I think he's
really?
He's
just uptight.
Yeah,
yep.
I think so.
You can see everything's rushed. The serve's rushed, the forehand. We talked about that. He looks rushed today. He's not just a casual man that seems to be getting to everything.
Well, you know, Michael Chang, after he lost him in the semi, said that Moya seems to have so much time for his shots, but you don't get that feeling today.
Man in the hot seat there, Moya, very upset with a few calls from the baseline, and that one he thought was long. It's no joy from Wayne McEwen, though. This is the one in question.
Game point, Moya. That sails. No call on Moya's baseline. It is deuce.
I think you're right about the forehand, Cliff, of Sampras, and I think the thing that he's improved so much on it, he's always been able to hit the big forehands, but now he makes a very few unforced errors. He used to sometimes have matches where it'd really go off on him and he'd make a lot of errors on it, but that rarely happens now, particularly on a medium-paced hard court.
I think the only time it happens, Patrick, is when he starts to press a little with it. I think today he's very composed and he's in rhythm with it.
Right.
I think the rhythm on the forehand is very, very important for him.
And as you say that, he hits an errant forehand, but there haven't been many of them.
Somebody yelled out in the crowd at him at that stage, too. I think he looked up into the crowd.
Well, Moya gave a little more juice to that forehand, had a little more pace on it. See, Pete is just, I mean, his strategy has just been right on today. Going to the Moya forehand, getting him out of court, and then making him hit a running backhand. And it has worked time and time again.
Fourth deuce. That's good. Oh, boy. The pressure of the moment is taking its toll on this young man, Carlos Moya. It's been a great tournament for him so far, but he is nowhere near as good today as he has been. The longest game of the match, and Sampras has got a break point in the third set, up 2-0. There's the breaker serve at 3:25 in the afternoon. That's Sunday afternoon down under in Melbourne, Australia. This is live coverage of the men's singles final. It's best of 5, and Sampras is looking good. This was a big item of news here. That is the fiery Fred Stolle teaming up with Peter McNamara. Watch yourself, Fred. You're a streaker like that.
Yeah. Well, it was very nice to win that title with Peter McNamara, and nice of you guys to show it. And I'd like to thank all the folks at Turnberry Isle for sending me all those congratulatory telegrams. All my friends in Florida. Thank you.
Yeah, they took out Mark Edmondson and Ken Rosewell in the final. Plus, Fred honored here this week or this fortnight. He's in the international, but the Australian Hall of Fame. Joining some of the true greats of the game, and it's amazing how many of them come from Australia. Congratulations, hearty congratulations to you, Fred. By the way, I think you've handled yourself, and this does not come easy to me to say, extremely well with this honor.
Well, that's the biggest thing that's happened to me this week now, then, Cliff, for that comment from you. Thank you.
Birdie loves Sampras. 2-1 Sampras and 2-0. This has turned into a rout. His biggest win ever was against Andre Agassi, U.S. Open in 1990. Agassi only won 9 games. So far, Carlos Moya has only won 6 games. 29th winner, 7th ace for Sampras.
Yeah, everything says Sampras on it today, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ground strokes, volleys, everything. There's not one department out there that Moya would be ahead in, I wouldn't think.
Is that another racket history?
Yep.
Look at that. So what, 4 now?
I think that's up to 4, yeah. Well, he might only need 1 more.
Yeah.
He's got enough to cover it, I'm sure. There's no rule as to how many rackets he can take on court, but I'm sure Pete Sampras takes on a few more than most players.
There is a rule regarding how many golf clubs you can have in your golf bag, but you can bring in 100 on the tennis court if you like.
Here's the 5th racket for Sampras that he's broken the string on. I'd say he's probably got about 8 or 10 maybe in his bag.
Plus they can restring him, of course.
That's why when he plays those long matches, Paul Anacone races on the court to carry the bag off.
Right.
It's that heavy.
Moya is out of court. He gives up on yet another one. Pete Sampras has just got too much game. You're watching the Australian Open men's singles final from down under in Melbourne, Australia. It's Melbourne Park, formerly known as Flinders Park. I'm Cliff Drysdale, Fred Stolley next to me, Patrick McEnroe as well. Sampras must be in a very good mood because he won the first set 6-2 behind 2 breaks of serve. In the second set, he won it 6-3. He was broken once, but he broke twice in that set. He has a 3-game-to-1 lead here in the third set, and there's no stopping him.
Pete's practicing up for the next Grand Slam. He's waiting for the French. A little bit of a drop shot there. Carlos Moya played one of these. He thought that might have been out. A little haphazard with that shot. Watch Sampras here. Getting ready for Roland Garros.
I think he's feeling pretty relaxed when he tries one of those drop shots. You don't see Pete Sampras hit that one too often.
Well, that's what happens when you get a net rush. You're playing somebody that's good off the ground, and they get a little bit apprehensive with their ground strokes or their passing shots, and you keep the pressure on, as Sampras did. That's what Paul Anacone wants you to do a little bit more of. Good strategy.
Let's go.
There's Paul.
For Moya last year, he lost in the first round at the Australian. He had 1 win over Patrick Rafter at the French before Edberg beat him. At the US Open, he also had 1 win. This is only his 5th Grand Slam event. But to tell you the truth, I'm sort of disappointed in his effort today. He doesn't look like he's really into the match. And he may soon be out of it. He's down 3-2, too low in sets. Sampras with a break in the third set, leading by 3-2. He's about to serve. First ever 24-hour all sports news network is here. ESPN News. We have highlights, news, notes, live press conferences, and a lot more. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please call your local cable operator if you don't get it in your area, or your satellite program provider, and make sure that you do. You're watching live coverage of the Australian Open Championships. Pete Sampras has had a very easy day, but be reminded that he in this championship has been in a lot of trouble. He had a rough one with Albert Costa of Spain, but won it in 5. But his toughest one of all was with Dominic Harbati, and you'll hear a lot more of that young man. Boy, he plays well. Harbert had Sampras down a break in the fifth and 2 break points for a second break in the fifth.
Yep. Sampras continues to serve at about 100 miles an hour. That one, 168k, is 105 miles an hour. And that's the way he's played this, to get himself set up for the volley, get some cheap points, not going for the big outright winners on the serve. He's been consistent all round today. That one a little bit more mustard when he goes for the one down the tee as opposed to out wide. That one 118 miles an hour.
Sampras has won this championship before, and he's looking very good here now with a 4-2 lead and 2 sets to none. Boris Becker won it last year. In fact, he has won them all except the French. So is Andre Agassi, who won it in '95. In fact, so is Pete Sampras. Won them all except the French. Courier has won the French and this year twice, as you can see. Becker, Lendl, Wielander, and Edberg. In the last 10 years.
Well, Moya just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he should go for the winners, roll the ball back into the court, and keep the ball in play. When he's doing that, Sampras ends up dominating the rally. And Moya just, I think, as we said in the beginning, came out a little tight and didn't go for his shots, and he's never been able to get on track.
He went for him, but he didn't have the timing, did he? The big forehand was not there to start off with, and he's become a little tentative, but Sampras, give him his due. He has kept the screws on.
Well, you've played him, Patrick. If you were down there now and able to coach him, Patrick, Carlos Moya, what would you tell him?
What can you tell him?
Trip him up on
what tie his shoelaces was the old story, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think I'd tell him to sit on the forehand return a little bit, you know, because Pete's been going there very regularly. Got to take some chances, obviously.
Oh, that running forehand of Sampras's is a jewel. Deuce.
I tell him to do that too, Cliff. Serve and volley a little bit, mix it up, and then look what happens.
Yep.
Pete just blocks it back, and then look, that's just like picking daisies right there for Pete Sampras.
Saves a break, and boy, does he need it. And now it is Moya serving for this game. He has the ad. Well, he listened to you, went for a little more on that one. Good second serve. Very wide. So they'll change ends with Sampras still ahead, but just one break a serve. Moya was in trouble in that game, but held on. Sampras 2 sets to none. Pete Sampras is on the brink with a break and 2 sets to none. This is live coverage of the Australian Open Tennis Championships. We're at Melbourne Park now, on what has already been a history-making event with Martina Hingis, just 16 years and 3 months old, winning the women's singles yesterday. Sampras trying to make it number 9. 15 love. And there's seemingly nothing that can stop him now.
Beautiful service motion, good shoulder rotation, keeps the head up, snaps the wrist right at the top of the swing, throws the racket head out, up and out at the ball.
would like to see him be able to come back, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Finds a pretty good angle on that one.
That's 15.
11th ace for Sampras, the 25-year-old from Tampa, Florida, now taking on this man from Barcelona.
See what a great coach I'd be, Cliff. I'd be telling Moya to sit on the forehand, and he gets ace up the middle twice in the deuce square.
Well, he'd be still on the forehand. I'm not sure even then you'd be able to get that one.
That didn't matter there.
Could have sat on that one and it still would have gone by.
192 Ks. What is that? About 120 miles an hour roundabout.
Pete picking up the pace on his first serve here as he
needs to.
He sees the finish line very close in his sights.
Game point. That was his third ace of the game. Patrick, I want to ask you what Fred asked me. Can he become an all-timer in terms of numbers of titles?
Oh, definitely. I think that's what he set his sights on. He doesn't talk about it too much. You know, I talked to him a little bit early in the week. He says, I don't think about those things. I mean, that's baloney. He thinks about it, and he wants to be remembered as the greatest player of all time. And certainly 3 out of the 4 Grand Slams, the services are great for him.
Well, you talk to the guys that he idolizes, the Lavers and the Rosewalls and your brother, John, they're all up there in that regard. They all think that this guy is certainly a contender for it.
Sampras is 2 points from his 9th Grand Slam title.
Pete wants the camera guys, not the ones that are on court that are there permanently, but they've got another couple of camera boys walking along the side of the court, distracting him.
Here is one low-key gentleman, but believe me, he is tough when he gets there on the court, and he's got match points now, Sampras.
There's about 200 cameras just went up shoulder height along the side of the court there to get this point, if it's match point and Sampras wins it.
It's the easiest Grand Slam win that he has ever had.
Well, Cliff, you know, that's a standing ovation from the Australian crowd here. They love this man. They know what he went through a couple of years ago. They were down here when he lost his coach. But Carlos Moya, on the other hand, also can hold his head up high. He's been crushed in this final, but he's had an opportunity to feel what it's like to get into a Grand Slam final and play against the top player in the world. All credit to him, but Sampras today, just too good, Patrick.
Oh, definitely. I think Pete Sampras, even he, as we talked about, was such an easy victory for him, but you could see the relief on his face and the joy at winning it and the tension. He really let out the tension there at the end, and even for him to win that easily, he knows how tough it's been the whole road these 2 weeks of the Australian Open.
So that makes it Grand Slam number 9. And Pete Sampras was in no trouble throughout the match. He won the first set 6-2, 2 breaks of serve. He won the second set 6-3. Again, he broke twice in that set, but he in turn was broken once. And then in the third set, another easy 6-3 victory. So he lost in all only 8 games in winning his 9th Grand Slam title. Sampras has experienced Grand Slam glory on 8 different occasions. made it number 9 today in Australia as Pete Sampras hoists his arms in the air in triumph, and Carlos Moya rather desolate behind him. A great champion, a great event, record-breaking crowds. This Grand Slam in Australia has come of age. Sampras was unstoppable today. He won this slam down under in Australia easier, in the final anyway, than any other that he has ever won. That makes it 9 in 11 tries. Pete Sampras, the winner in Australia.
Our coverage of the 1997 Australian Open is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Live coverage of the Australian Open Championships, and we are hoping to show you the victory speeches. And we will show you that trophy presentation when it happens from down under in Australia. Again, this is